Have you been blessed by the Lord? Have men denied you access, but later wonder how you were still able to enter? Have you put trust in men for something and they failed you? Relax and trust God. Calm down and look up to heaven. We have a God who knows all that concerns us, a God who sees the end from the beginning. He is not slow. He would come for you, move you to where you ought to be, and bless you. The blessing of God is geographical and dimensional. God has predestined where our blessing would locate us. You might not be seeing the blessings of God in full measure because you have not entered the land or place where God has ordered your blessings to meet you. How long have you been waiting on God for the miracle? How true are you to Him to be blessed? There is the general blessing God has for everyone, like the air we breathe, health and peace. But far more than this, God has a particular blessing for you. That blessing that would shift you drastically, dramatic and dimensionally. We have not had access to this blessing because of certain limitations. The first step or thing to do to be among the select for God's shift and blessing is to have a relationship with God. You cannot be a partaker without being a member. You cannot receive when you are not known. Take the step today to become a member of God's family. Decide to know Him. Once you know Him and accept Him as your Lord, you have taken the step to receive the blessing long promised and prepared for you. You would be aligned and connected to Him. Your worries become His to carry, and your burden becomes His to bear. We don't own ourselves. Something controls the physical, and you need to know that someone that has control over the physical. Being with Him would ensure you are secured from what can harm you. You are precious to Him, and He wants you to come near so that you are cared for. It is a personal decision, and once you have done that, you are marked for the blessing and the lifting. You won't be left stranded again. You won't be left halfway. Get to know Him today. Get to be a member. Accept Him to stay. Get aligned and get connected and see yourself on the path of greatness. Once you are on track, be attentive and obedient to the leadings of the Lord. Your blessing and lifting is geographical. When God has pronounced blessing on you, the force of the enemy would swing into action to see how they can thwart that blessing, and you give them the permission through disobedience. You need to pray more. You need to be attentive and do what He says. The solution to confusion, doubt, and uncertainty about anything is to pray. Prayer is the cure to a confused mind, broken, and a weary soul. When you pray, you are made sensitive to hear and do what He says. God would move you to where He has prepared your blessings, but on your own though, and plan that place may seem unacceptable to you. But when you have given yourself to pray, it would be easier to move, follow, and take the instructions He is giving. Abraham was aligned and connected to the Almighty God, and when it was time to God to bless him, God had to put him where He would the blessed and be a blessing. Genesis 12:1-5. Now in Haran, the Lord had said to Abraham, "Go away from your country and from your relatives and from your father's house to the land which I will show you, and I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you abundantly and make your name great, exalted, distinguished, and you shall be a blessing, a source of great good to others. And I will bless, do good for benefit, those who bless you, and I will curse, that is, subject to my wrath and judgment, the one who curses, despises, dishonors, has contempt for you. And in you all the families, nations of the earth will be blessed. So Abram departed in faithful obedience as the Lord had directed him, and Lot, his nephew, left with him. Abram was 75 years old when he left Haran. Abram took Sarah, his wife, and Lot, his nephew, and all their possessions which they had acquired, and the people, servants, which they had acquired in Haran, and they set out to go to the land of Canaan. He would move you and put you where nobody else can bless you. When God takes you there, He would bless you that men would envy you. Like Abraham in Genesis 24, we were told that God blessed him and his offspring in all things. He became a yardstick of the blessed. He was lacking in nothing. He was mightily blessed by God, because God put him where he was and blessed him there. Nations even began to envy him and his offspring. Genesis 26:12-14. Then Isaac planted seed in that land as a farmer, and reaped in the same year 100 times, as much as he had planted, and the Lord blessed and favored him. And the man Isaac became great and gained more and more until he became very wealthy and extremely distinguished. He owned flocks and herds and a great household, which a number of servants and Philistines envied him. Be aligned and connected to the one true God. Let him own you. Be attentive to hear him speak. Be ready to move when he says so. He would lead you to your place of blessing. He would lead you to your Rehoboth. He would put you where nobody will and would bless you there. From the life of Joseph, we can also see a man that was moved and placed where no man can put him and bless him there. From Genesis 37, the account and life of Joseph were unfolded. There was no way he would be raised by God to rescue a nation tomorrow. So God had to move him using his brothers who thought they were doing him evil to Egypt. From being a slave in Egypt, he found himself in prison. That was the last bus stop before God can put him in the set place for him to be blessed. It wasn't by the power of man. Nobody would ordinarily take a prisoner and make him a prime minister. It was the hand of God that wrath it to happen. Nobody knew God was taking Joseph there. After the movement, suffering, and trials, God exalted Joseph and placed him in a place to deliver the nation of Israel in the time of famine. Genesis 37, Genesis 50. Another person we can learn from is David. He was a man despised by even his father. He was forgotten. When the prophet Samuel was sent by God to the family of Jesse's, the prophet Samuel told their father Jesse to assemble all his children. Jesse did, but forgot that he has another son, Jesse, who was in the bush taking care of the animals. When it was time for God to bless him, he took him from his family, his home, and those he knew to the palace. From the palace, God guided him as he ran from King Saul and wandered through caves and desert. God finally brought him back to the palace. It was God who put him there. He was the least among his brethren. His existence was forgotten. He was seen as someone who without impact. He was seen as an enemy by King Saul. But when it was time, God, by his time, took him and bestowed him on the throne of Israel. God blessed him abundantly. He was mighty blessed by God. He fought battles and won. He ruled long over the land of Israel. He operated in various dimensions as a priest, as a prophet, as a singer, as a harpist, and a king. This was the handwork of God. Nobody have helped or through to install him on the throne. Nobody would have blessed him because even his brothers hated him. But God put him on the throne and blessed him beyond measures. He wasn't from the family God ordained would be king. A common man, the forgotten man, a shepherd boy, but God put him in that place and blessed him. He is one of the most respected kings in Israel. It is believed that he was the best king to ever rule Israel and Judah combined. Like King David, do you think men have forgotten you? Do it seem as if you are in the wrong place and all doors are closed? Like David, God would put you in that place where you can enter on your accord and bless you there. The count and examples are numerous. Ruth in the Bible wasn't an Israelite, yet King David came from her offspring. Jesus, the Messiah, is traceable to her. Are you a lady and think God doesn't put and bless women? Follow me through the case of Ruth and Esther. Ruth was a Moabite woman. Having married an Israelite, she began worshiping the Almighty God. And when her husband died, she didn't want to return to her former ways and instead begged to live with her mother-in-law. The book of Ruth in the Bible is all about how God moved her from the country of Moab to the land of Israel, brought a man named Boaz into her life and blessed her tremendously in a foreign land. He did it for her. She wasn't known and Naomi wasn't able to do anything for her, and instead begged her to return to her family and people. But Ruth has known the God of Naomi and was aligned and connected to him. She understood times and season and knew it wasn't time to go back to her people, but follow the leading of God. He took her and placed her as a champion in a foreign land. There were many women there, but through her lineage, King David and the Messiah were born. Esther was also such woman that God took her to a place no man can take her to and blessed her. The book of Esther in the Bible is also dedicated to her exploits. Among all the women in the land, she found favor. She was a captive in that land, a stranger, but God lifted her to the position of queen, and she was instrumental in delivering the nation of Israel. Observe that she was a woman that feared the Lord and knew what to do. When it was wrong to see the king and she needed to see him for her people to be saved, she asked her people to embark on a 3-day fast and call upon God to spare her life, and she met the king and it worked out well. If she doesn't know certain keys and ways to approach God, she won't have thought of fasting, but it showed she has been doing it before. Are you a woman like Esther or Ruth? You are not left out. Get connected, get aligned. Ensure you are hearing him and following the times and season. He would definitely put and bless you where nobody would be able to have done it for you. Get back to the drawing board. Where have you lost it? When were you disconnected? Are you known by him? Are you a member of his family? We saw examples of men and women that God put them in places that nobody would have been able to put them and bless them greatly. God has not forgotten you. If you are sure on track, your season would come. He would ensure systems are put under pressure until you are taken. Management is in pressure until your proposal is accepted. Everything is working out for your good. You would be celebrated soon. Congratulations.